Commander Vexara of the Tharaxian Elite Guard registered pain before consciousness fully returned. The taste of copperich blood filled her mouth as dust settled around her broken form. Memory returned in fragments: the human colony's desperate counterattack, the collapse of the mining facility, her squad's screams silenced by tons of collapsing metal and stone. She attempted to move and immediately regretted it. Every nerve ending screamed in protest, but the true horror awaited below her torso. Where her right leg should have been, a jagged stump ended mid-thigh, partially cauterized by superheated debris. The sight would have made lesser warriors faint, but Vexara was Tharaxian. She would die with dignity. In Tharaxian culture, physical perfection wasn't merely preferred, it was mandatory among the warrior caste. A damaged soldier was worse than a dead one. They were living reminders of failure. No rescue would come for her. By now, her biosignature would have been marked as terminated in the military database, a more honorable designation than compromised. Vexara activated her emergency beacon anyway, a final act of defiance. She wouldn't be remembered as one who surrendered to fate without a fight. The small device hummed to life, its soft blue glow illuminating the cramped pocket of rubble that had become her tomb. Hours passed, marked only by the weakening rhythm of her triple heartbeats. The pain had faded to a dull throb, a dangerous sign. Her system was shutting down. She drifted in and out of consciousness, ancestral prayers on her lips. The sound of shifting debris jolted her awake. Something was digging, not the massive equipment of a Tharaxian recovery team, but something smaller, methodical. Vexara reached for her sidearm, finding only emptiness at her hip. Defenseless, injured, she prepared for one final battle. A shaft of light pierced her sanctuary, followed by a face she never expected to see, a human, wearing a medic's insignia. "I found someone," the human called out, though no response came. He was alone. Elian Drake had become separated from his unit during the evacuation. When his scanner picked up a non-human life sign, curiosity overrode caution. Now, faced with an injured Tharaxian commander, training took over. "Don't move," he said, squeezing through the opening he'd created. "I'm a medic." Vexara hissed, baring sharp teeth. "Leave me to die with honor, human." Elian assessed the situation with practiced efficiency, ignoring her threats. "That's not happening on my watch." "You don't understand," she growled. "A Tharaxian warrior cannot return like this." Her eyes flicked toward her missing limb. Elian's expression softened with understanding, but his voice remained firm. "Where I come from, we don't leave anyone behind, enemy or not." He unfolded a compact medical kit, preparing a stabilizing field for her injury. "The war's over anyway. Both sides are retreating from this moon." This news struck Vexara harder than any physical blow. "Then I truly am abandoned." "Not anymore," Elian said, administering a nano-infused coagulant to her wound. "I'm Dr. Elian Drake, and you are." Pride warred with pragmatism in her amber eyes. Finally, she answered, "Commander Vexara, 7th Division." "Well, Commander," Elian said, activating a portable bioscanner, "I've got a shelter established 2 kilometers east. If we're going to get you there, I need your cooperation." "Why save your enemy?" Vexara asked, genuine confusion in her voice. Elian's hands never stopped working as he answered, "Because before I was a soldier, I was a healer. And if we're going to survive on this rock until rescue comes, old enemies might need to become new allies." As consciousness began to fade again, Vexara found herself wondering if perhaps there was something to the humans' philosophy after all. Something her people, with all their strength and discipline, had never understood. The shelter Dr. Drake had established was a marvel of human ingenuity, a repurposed mining module reinforced with salvaged materials. Inside, medical equipment shared space with survival gear, creating an improbable sanctuary amid the moon's devastated landscape. Vexara drifted in and out of consciousness for 3 days. When she finally awoke fully, the reality of her situation crashed down upon her. She was alive, disgraced, disabled, dependent on a human. "You're finally awake," Elian said, noticing her stirring. He approached with a scanner, maintaining a respectful distance. "How's the pain?" "Irrelevant," she replied coldly. She attempted to sit up, immediately regretting the decision as fire shot through her wounded leg. "Easy," Elian cautioned, moving to support her. "The nanogel is still integrating with your tissue. Your physiology is fascinating. I've had to adapt several treatments." Vexara glared at him. You waste resources on a crippled enemy. My people would have granted a merciful end. Well, I'm not your people, Elian replied, his voice steady. And where I come from, we don't discard lives because they've been damaged. He moved to a workbench cluttered with tools and components. Besides, crippled is an outdated concept. See this? He held up what appeared to be the framework of a leg, sleek metallic with intricate neural interfaces. Biomechanical prosthetic. Once finished, it'll integrate with your nervous system. You'll walk again, maybe even better than before. A machine appendage. You expect a Tharaxian commander to accept such artifice? Despite her words, curiosity flickered in her eyes. I expect a survivor to use every advantage, Elian countered. But it's your choice. I won't force you. Days passed in uneasy coexistence. Elian worked tirelessly on the prosthetic while tending to Vexara's wound. She watched him with increasing fascination, his dedication, his skill, his strange human optimism. Why did you become a healer? She asked one evening as he adjusted the neural interfaces. Elian's hands stilled momentarily. My sister was born with a spinal defect. Doctors said she'd never walk. A smile touched his lips. She runs marathons now. Vexara considered this. On Tharax, she would have been separated from society. That's the fundamental difference between us, I think, Elian said. Humans don't see adversity as weakness. We see it as a challenge to overcome. He met her gaze. Like your injury, it's not your end, Vexara, not unless you choose it to be. The prosthetic was completed a week later. Vexara eyed it warily as Elian prepared for the attachment procedure. It will hurt, he warned. Your nervous system needs to form connections with the interface. Pain is familiar territory, she replied, steeling herself. The procedure was excruciating. Vexara refused sedation, enduring each moment as the prosthetic's neural web merged with her own nerves. Elian worked with precision, his admiration for her stoicism evident. When it was done, she lay exhausted, the gleaming limb now part of her. Rest, Elian urged. Tomorrow we start teaching you how to use it. That night, as moonlight filtered through the shelter's small window, Vexara examined her new appendage. It was beautiful in its way, functional, powerful, a testament to human ingenuity and one human's refusal to accept defeat. For the first time since the collapse, Vexara allowed herself to imagine a future, one different from anything she had been raised to expect, yet somehow not entirely without honor. Across the room, Elian slept, his features softened in repose. Enemy, healer, human, she could no longer decide which label mattered most. All she knew was that when everyone else had left her for dead, this man had seen value in her survival. It was a debt she could neither repay nor ignore. Again, Elian instructed, standing across the cleared space in their shelter. Focus on the neural connection, not the mechanics. Vexara gritted her teeth, frustration evident in her rigid posture. 3 weeks had passed since the prosthetic attachment, and progress was slower than either of them had anticipated. The leg responded perfectly to commands, but her balance remained compromised. She took another step, wobbled, and caught herself against the wall. A growl of frustration escaped her lips. You're overthinking, Elian said. Your body knows how to walk, trust it. Easy for you to say, she snapped. You still have all your original parts. Unexpectedly, Elian laughed. Fair point. He approached her, offering his arm. Let's try something different. Walk with me like we're just taking a stroll. Reluctantly, she accepted his support. They moved slowly around the perimeter of the room, and Vexara found herself distracted by their conversation enough that her movements became more natural. Tell me about Tharax, Elian suggested as they walked. Beyond the military, what's your home like? The question caught her off guard. No human had ever asked about her world with genuine curiosity. It's beautiful, she admitted. 3 suns create perpetual twilight in the habitable zones. The crystal forests reflect the light in cascades of color. Sounds magical, Elian said, his voice warm. I'd like to see that someday. You would be the first human to do so peacefully, she observed. They had completed a full circuit of the room when Vexara realized she'd been walking without focusing on each step. Progress. That evening, as Elian prepared their rations, Vexara watched him with newfound curiosity. You've never spoken of your home. Elian smiled wistfully. Earth's North American region, a place called Colorado, mountains, forests, rivers. He paused. Though home's become more of a concept than a place since I joined the medical corps. Why did you fight in this war? She asked directly. Humans claim to value life, yet you came to our territory with weapons. Elian considered his answer carefully. I never fired a shot. I came to heal our people, yes, but anyone who needed help. He met her gaze, including you. Something shifted between them that night. A barrier lowered, a bridge extended. The following days brought remarkable progress. Vexara's strength returned rapidly, her natural warrior discipline applying itself to rehabilitation. Soon she was not only walking but beginning to run, the prosthetic responding with increasing seamlessness to her commands. It's extraordinary, she admitted one day after completing a complex series of combat forms. This leg, it doesn't feel foreign anymore. That's the point, Elian said, watching her with undisguised admiration. The best prosthetics become part of you, not just attachments. Their evenings lengthened into conversations that stretched until dawn, exchanges about their worlds, beliefs, the war that had brought them together. Vexara learned of human resilience, of their stubborn hope even in darkness. Elian discovered the honor and loyalty at the core of Tharaxian culture, so often hidden beneath their martial exterior. One night after a particularly grueling training session, Elian helped Vexara stretch muscles still adapting to the prosthetic's weight. His hands were careful, professional, until they weren't. A touch lingered, eyes met and held. Your people, Vexara said softly, not moving away, do they form connections with other species? Some do, Elian replied, his voice equally quiet. Humans are adaptable that way. And you, she asked, suddenly fearless. His answer came not in words, but in the diminishing space between them, a question asked in silence, answered in kind. Dawn broke over the cratered landscape outside their shelter, painting the desolation in gentle gold. Inside, Vexara woke to the unfamiliar sensation of warmth against her back, Elian's arm draped protectively across her waist. The previous night's intimacy replayed in her mind, tentative touches becoming bold exploration, discovering how human and Tharaxian physiology could create unexpected harmony. She should feel shame, instead she felt whole. Carefully she turned to face him, studying his sleeping features. How strange that this face, so alien with its flat nose, rounded ears, and beardless chin, had become dear to her. When his eyes opened, the smile that followed made her triple hearts beat in uneven rhythm. Good morning, he murmured, reaching to trace the iridescent markings along her temple. No regrets. None, she replied, surprising herself with the truth of it, though my ancestors might disagree. Elian laughed softly. Mine too, probably. Their days found new rhythm. Physical therapy continued, but now interspersed with moments of connection, hands brushing as they worked, knowledge of each other's bodies bringing new awareness to every interaction. Vexara mastered her prosthetic with increasing confidence, while Elian continued to modify it, enhancing its capabilities beyond standard human designs. Try this, he said one afternoon, after making adjustments to the neural interface. I've increased sensitivity and power output simultaneously. Vexara tested the leg with a series of rapid movements, culminating in a leap that carried her higher than she'd ever managed before her injury. She landed precisely, balance perfect. It's better than my original leg, she admitted, awe in her voice. That's the idea, Elian replied, pride evident in his expression. Not just replacement, but improvement. That night their passion held new dimension, celebration of capability regained and boundaries transcended. Afterward, tangled together in shared warmth, Vexara confessed her deepest fear. When rescue comes, and it will eventually, what happens to this, she gestured between them. A Tharaxian commander and a human medic, there's no precedent. Elian traced the curve of her jaw with gentle fingers. We make our own precedent. Your culture reveres pioneers, doesn't it? Warriors who forge new paths. Through battle, yes, not through. Love, he supplied when she faltered. The word hung between them, neither confirming nor denying its accuracy. Perhaps both require similar courage, Elian suggested. Vexara considered this. In Tharaxian philosophy, true courage meant facing the unknown without guarantee of victory. By that definition, what they were attempting might be the bravest act of her life. Days turned to weeks. Their shelter became a home of sorts, a microcosm where traditional boundaries between species dissolved. Vexara taught Elian Theraxian martial forms. He showed her earth music and art. Together, they created something neither culture had imagined possible. One evening, monitoring the emergency beacon that had drawn them together, they detected a signal, faint but unmistakable. A rescue vessel, still distant but approaching. Human or Theraxian? Vexara asked, sudden tension in her frame. Elian studied the pattern. Human, my people found us first. The reality they'd been avoiding could no longer be ignored. Soon, their isolation would end. The war might be over, but decades of hostility wouldn't disappear overnight. Their relationship, nurtured in extraordinary circumstances, would face the judgment of two worlds. Vexara's hand found Elian's, fingers intertwining, 5 digits clasping 3 in perfect symmetry. Whatever comes, she said with quiet determination, we face it standing together. His answering smile carried all the stubborn hope that had first saved her life. I wouldn't have it any other way. The rescue shuttle's descent scattered dust across the lunar surface, its engines cutting harsh lines through the silence that had enveloped Vexara and Elian for months. They stood at the entrance to their shelter, hands clasped, watching humanity's approach with mingled anticipation and dread. Remember, Elian said, the war is officially over. A ceasefire was declared. They can't treat you as an enemy combatant. Vexara nodded, though doubt lingered. Treaties are signed by leaders, not soldiers, the ones who fought, who lost comrades. Their memories aren't erased by documents. The shuttle touched down 200 meters from their position. The hatch opened, revealing 4 figures in medical corps uniforms. Their expressions upon seeing Elian standing beside a Theraxian commander, hand in hand, no less, cycled rapidly through relief, confusion, and wariness. Dr. Drake, called the leader, a woman with captain's insignia. We've been searching for survivors. Her eyes fixed on Vexara, specifically on the prosthetic leg gleaming in the sunlight. Captain Reynolds, Elian acknowledged, stepping forward but maintaining his connection to Vexara. This is Commander Vexara of the 7th Division. She's under my protection and care. The captain's expression remained neutral, though her hand hovered near her sidearm. The ceasefire terms include prisoner exchange protocols. We'll transport the Theraxian to the neutral processing station. She's not a prisoner, Elian stated firmly. She's my patient and my partner. A shocked silence followed his declaration. Vexara stepped forward, her posture regal despite her anxiety. I formally request asylum with the Human Coalition, she announced, using the diplomatic phrasing Elian had taught her. And I carry information valuable to establishing lasting peace between our peoples. This was true. Their months together had revealed cultural misunderstandings that had fueled the conflict, insights that might prevent future war if properly communicated. Captain Reynolds studied them both, decades of military training warring with basic human curiosity. Finally, she nodded. We'll sort this out aboard the Mercy. She named the medical frigate orbiting the moon. Both of you will have opportunity to present your case. The journey to the Mercy passed in tense silence. Aboard the ship, Vexara drew stares and whispers, the first Theraxian many had seen outside of combat. More shocking to the human crew was her evident comfort with Elian, their subtle gestures of support and affection. Medical evaluation confirmed what Elian had already achieved. The prosthetic was revolutionary, integrating with Theraxian physiology in ways human science had considered impossible. Xenobiologists and engineers crowded their examination room, questions flowing about the adaptive technologies. You've created a breakthrough in cross-species medical care, the ship's chief medical officer told Elian privately. This could help thousands, both human and Theraxian. A week later, as the Mercy approached Earth, Vexara stood at a viewport watching the blue planet grow larger. Behind her, Elian entered with news. They've granted your asylum request, he said, joy evident in his voice. And the Theraxian delegation has requested to meet you, specifically to discuss your unique perspective on human-Theraxian relations. Vexara turned, emotion softening her usually stoic features. They would normally execute a warrior who returned with mechanical parts, yet now they wish to learn from my dishonor. Not dishonor, Elian corrected, joining her at the viewport. Evolution, you're living proof that our species can help each other, heal each other. He took her hand. Love each other. She leaned her forehead against his, a Tharaxian gesture of profound trust. From abandoned soldier to diplomatic pioneer, an unexpected journey. The best journeys usually are, Elian replied, and ours is just beginning. Below them, Earth awaited, as did representatives from Tharax. Two worlds that had known only conflict would witness something unprecedented. A partnership forged in adversity, strengthened by difference, sustained by something universal to both species. Not merely survival, but the courage to create something new from the ashes of war.